Hello.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. So we just wanted to go over a couple of the responsibilities that everybody has and just kind of like go over that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So as you guys know, we're part of the PNSP program. So here we are the ambassador program. So if you're an intern or a regular ambassador, you guys are all ambassadors part of this program. So as that, all of us are going to give like tours. We're all part of special events, and we're all here to give like that personal experience to students. Like Laura said yesterday or today, I can't remember. It's about giving them that experience or your story versus selling the school. So definitely that's one of our things.
Yeah. So again, so our ambassadors are in charge, or like all of us interns and ambassadors are going to be doing tours.
Yeah.
They're going to do Saturday tours as well, 2 of those a semester, both of the Cougar previews and the special events that are going to be happening as well. Y'all will get more information about special events as they come along, so it's okay that y'all don't know the dates or anything about that. But then our interns, y'all do have a little bit more responsibilities, such as manning front counter, making those phone calls and writing the postcards for the phone calls that you make. But all of y'all are also responsible of doing the postcards after each tour that we went over with training at training yesterday as well. And yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and also we do have our marketing interns, Ty and Sabu. They'll be dealing with the projects with the marketing team here in the office.
But yeah, so do y'all have any questions about the different responsibilities? Cool. And then one thing that everyone is going to be, our interns y'all have your own accountability system as well, which we went over at retreat, so y'all like remember that. But something that everyone is going to be responsible for is our PAWs and CLAWs. So yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
So really quickly, I just wanted to go over this accountability system because it's pretty important for our program and really just for the success of it. So we have PAWs and CLAWs. Again, that's going to be for everyone in this room, so interns and ambassadors. I know interns, y'all got a little bit more in specific about your accountability system, so don't worry if y'all have questions about the differences, we can talk about it, but I just wanted to talk about something that all of us have in common. So CLAWs is basically a consequence for violating like any kind of policy that we have here with our program. So we'll go very specifically into what's a CLAW, and then a PAW is a positive affirmation for wonderful service. So a lot of y'all in this room have either received a PAW or deserve like 5,000 of them for being such great ambassadors. But that's kind of just a way for you all to know how we're doing a part of the program and how you're doing specifically a part of it. So CLAWs, how you get one and then how you don't. Again, if you're arriving more than 5 minutes late to your shift, that's a CLAW. Just because that's going to take a toll on like the whole process of how tours go. If you arrive late, that kind of makes the LC nervous who's doing the presentation, and then everything gets a little bit altered. So just being able to get on time is going to be a really important thing for us. An unexcused absence is actually 2 CLAWs. So if you have a tour scheduled and you just don't show up at all, and like there's no communication, that's 2 CLAWs, because that is not just y'all, which is like the biggest thing that we're trying to get to it is that your consequences or your actions have consequences not only on y'all but like to the people around you. So that's kind of not fair for someone to have to pick up your slack because you kind of just forgot to communicate or things like that. Failing to meet deadlines. Ashley puts so many deadlines on the email all the time. She like bolds it, puts it in red. It's not too easy to miss. So failing to meet a deadline would be a CLAW. That kind of makes a lot of sense. And then unprofessionalism during the shift. So if you say any like disrespectful language or attitude, yeah, not like professional pettiness. We are all about professional pettiness in this office. It's more just like if you're hurting someone or doing it on purpose or things like that. Like that's a conversation that we'll have because this program means a lot for like the family setting that we're trying to have here. So we really just want to make sure that everyone's being respectful of each other. Out of uniform or cursing. So just be mindful that there's always people around you, especially like at front counter or whenever you're out on tour. Like these guests, this is the first, sometimes this is the first time on campus, so they really want an ambassador who's like super like professional but still fun. Does that make sense? And then to not get a shift, if you're covered by another ambassador, I know that's gone over, But if you can't show up to a shift and it's like pretty last minute, having another ambassador cover it for you, that'll be fine. You're not going to get a claw for that. If you have, like, for any reason you're not attending a meeting or any kind of like deadline, as long as you have a makeup or you communicate with an LC about what's happening with all that, you're not going to get a claw. 7 days notice whenever you're requesting off. Again, y'all have talked about this through When I Work and how that system goes along, but just making sure that you're still on top of that and knowing what you should be doing. And then if you experience a personal loss, that is not something that y'all are going to get a claw for, because we are probably one of the most understanding teams whenever it comes to you all not being able to show up for something as serious as this. So it's literally just letting your LC know that something's going on, and we're going to be like, we got it, don't worry about it, go figure whatever you have to figure out. If your car is inoperable, we say Pixar didn't happen, because sometimes y'all are like, oh my gosh, my car's broken, and then y'all are just stuck in traffic. So traffic is not an excuse, because again, most of y'all are from Houston, and if not, then y'all know how Houston traffic is, so we kind of just let y'all time it out. Y'all kind of know how to handle situations like that. And then any kind of medical emergency. So if y'all wake up the morning of your tour and you're like throwing up and you have the flu and you're contagious, don't come in, please. I'm not trying to get sick. So that's just how you do and don't get a call. Does anyone have any questions about that? Does that kind
I
of
do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So I just want to make sure the language on that is correct. Your car. So if I drive or I'm in public transportation or anything like that, that would be included in there, correct? Or
Yeah, so if for
Okay.
some reason you're on like a public transportation, if you know that that's the reason you're going to be late, communicate it to an LC. That doesn't
Okay.
give you a claw.
yeah, I just want
Yeah.
clarity.
Yeah.
And I do want to add, if you are don't ever go to Laura and be like, oh, Laura, by the way, I'm not able to come next week because of X, Y, Z. Laura is so busy, she's not remembering. A verbal communication of anything is not really sufficient, because I personally have 50 million things going on, so I know I'm going to forget. The best way for you to make sure that what you are trying to convey to us is received is through email or through a Slack message. Email is probably the best resort, because all of us as LC have access to the email. But if you're running tight and you're on your way to a shift and something happens, you can DM an LC or DM multiple LC if you want. You know what I mean? But try to avoid going to Laura about, oh, I won't be able to make it about this. Is that okay? You have to send it in email. Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
And then the things that happen if you do get a claw, basically if you get your first claw, you just have a meeting with whoever gave you the claw. So this semester is going to be a little bit different. We usually have an LC who's like designated to give claws and kind of keep track of that. This semester is kind of be like all LCs taking that on. And that way everyone's kind of like on the same page with everything. So you'll basically have a meeting with the LC that gave you the claw, and you'll just sit down and discuss it if you want like super clear explanation of why you got the claw or things like that. The second meeting will bring Shreya in, probably Sarah, and really just talk to you a little bit more about like your development and how we're going to avoid getting your third claw. Because your third claw is actually a meeting with Laura and Shreya and Sarah. It's a little scary, you don't want to get there. But that's going to be a little more intense about knowing where you're going to stand in the program, because having 3 claws is like a big no, that one, because I didn't do that. Does anyone have questions about claws? Yeah.
Wait, so how many can you get?
3.
Before you're fired? Oh, okay.
3, the third is subject to termination.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we trust out basically, I mean, we want you to understand that this is very much a professional environment. We want you to feel like you're comfortable talking to anybody in leadership in any kind of way about if you are having issues, or if there is something that came up and maybe you don't understand why you got a claw, you can totally talk to us about it, because we're going to have a conversation anyway. And we don't want you to get to the point where you are subject to termination, because we want you here. Just understanding that like your actions do have consequences, whether good or bad, and you need to keep yourself accountable for those actions. That's all it is.
Does anyone else have questions about claws? That wasn't supposed to scare y'all. I feel like y'all are scared. That wasn't the talk. But yeah, that's that's just a little system that we have going on. On the super flip side of that, we do have PAWs. So PAWs are hopefully some of the things that y'all are shooting for in the program. So it is basically if you have an exceptional tour evaluation, I know at the end of your tours you're going to be telling your guest to fill it out. If someone comes back and they're like, oh my gosh, he changed my life, or she, right? My ambassador changed my life. This is the reason that I'm coming to the University of Houston. Y'all get a PAW for that. And then going just above and beyond for a guest, I know that a lot of ambassadors sitting in this room, shout out to Somi, have taken on so much to make sure that the guest experience has been above and beyond. And so it's not going to go unnoticed. And I know for right now it's like we don't always tell you exactly when we see it, but being able for y'all to know that all LC is really paying attention to that and knowing that you all are working really hard will hopefully, get you to feel better about that. And then handling extreme or difficult situations. If there's ever a situation where you can't handle it and you need an LC to come out, that's not what we're trying to address with this one. It's more just like if you know that you can handle the situation yourself and you just want to do it, even if it's a difficult situation, you obviously get a call for that because people are a little crazy sometimes. So y'all being able to handle that would be pretty good. And then lastly, this will come in handy when it comes to the success of your house. So y'all don't have most of y'all don't have an idea of what houses are, but they will come a lot in handy for your house and the success of it. So that'll be something to keep in mind as well. And I don't know what time it is. Okay, cool.